Hi, I'm Mike Sherman here with Darnell Mayberry, and we're talking about Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Thunder and the Spurs. Here for interview sessions at the AT&T Center on Monday. Game 2, Tuesday night here in San Antonio. Darnell, it really seemed like the Thunder wants to turn the page quickly on Game 1.
Yeah, I think this morning at practice we noticed that they were all a little testy, all a little sort of angry over last night's loss. They really want to get past it and move on to Tuesday and try to get a better showing. They know that they were 12 minutes away from coming out of here with a win in Game 1 and stealing home court advantage early in this series. That way they could have a better chance of winning this series, but now they know their work's cut off for them. They need to get a win in Game 2 to try to steal home court advantage.
And Darnell, a big question today really was about defensive effort and defensive execution in the fourth quarter, but it was so bad in the fourth quarter it seems like we're rushing ahead and throwing away 3 quarters of significantly good defensive basketball. Is that something to build on?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their second and third quarters, they had high-scoring quarters. They really played great defense in those 2 middle quarters and really did everything that they wanted to do, especially in the pick and roll, limiting Tony Parker, putting a body on Tim Duncan, and really canceling out their role players. Matt Bonner going 0 for 2 from 3. The Spurs only making 7 or 8 threes on the entire night. So they did a lot well in that game. Unfortunately, it's all overshadowed by that disastrous fourth quarter.
And the disastrous fourth quarter really, and we talk about this often, Darnell, the international disaster sign for the Thunder. Kevin Durant wandering out by the timeline with his hand stuck out, begging for the ball. Things really slowed down to a grind. What's that all about?
Well, it all depends on who you ask. Some players want to say that the ball movement stopped. It was simple as that. Some players say, hey, that was the plays that were being called, and they were force-feeding it to Durant. He had it going. Either it was a negative, they were force-feeding it to Durant, or a positive, he had it going, and he got 12 free throw attempts on the game. So either way, it's not very good or effective offense for the Thunder. They really need to move the ball better and get everyone involved. When they do that, they're dangerous to cover, and they didn't do that in the fourth quarter.
The covering, though, going back to the positive, and it's that 3 quarters of defense. Probably the most impressive thing was, one, how Perk covered Tim Duncan. It got him in foul trouble, but he played with 5 fouls deep into the game and did a good job against Duncan. Duncan didn't beat him. But secondly, how Westbrook really took Tony Parker out of the game. They're going to stick with that, I suppose, and is that something to really build on?
Yeah, I think what the Thunder got was a taste of its own medicine. I mean, basically, they shut down their best 2 players in Tim Duncan, or 2 of their best 3 players in Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, and then they let another guy in Manu Ginobili go off. It's sort of like when the Thunder has off nights from Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and then James Harden steps up and just kills you in the fourth quarter. That's sort of what happened to the Thunder last night with the Spurs sort of dishing it out this time. And as long as that happens, the Thunder might not have a chance if their best 2 guys, and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, don't show up. They need Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant had a good game, but they need Russell Westbrook to be more aggressive and take over, even if the plays are being called for Kevin Durant. He's got to be more aggressive in the fourth quarter.
I said one more question, but something you said made me want to ask one more, and that's about James Harden. A lot of the question about James Harden and the ball being in his hands at the end of the fourth quarter, in a moment of blunt honesty, somebody asked James that, and he said, yeah, I need the ball.
He does. He's absolutely right. We saw it in Dallas in Game 4 when he really closed out that game. He scored or assisted on 24 of 35 points in that fourth quarter and led the Thunder to a sweep over the defending champions. So if he could do it there on the road, there's no reason to believe that he can't do it here in San Antonio. And if he does that, I think the Thunder will have success. Scott Brooks told me after his practice today that he does plan on getting the ball in James Harden's hand more in Game 2 on Tuesday night, so look for that, and I think that should lead to more success for the Thunder.
Thanks, Darnell. That's all for us. Game 2, Tuesday night here in San Antonio at the AT&T Center, 8 o'clock start. For the best coverage anywhere, stay every day with News OK and every morning in the Oklahoman.